Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer. I'm Peter Martin, Lee McCulloch, Neil Lennon and Tom McManus are with me on our YouTube channel. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button, join the football family, and if you download the app, you've got all the breaking football news at your fingertips. And on this day, let's look at what we're going to be talking about. Neil Warnock has been appointed Aberdeen boss until the end of the season, with the Dons vowing to secure a permanent manager in the summer.
It's not for the money. I mean, I've had some good offers in the last 6-8 weeks, and it's just I'd like to have a go at in this league.
Rangers boss Philippe Clement has been awarded Manager of the Month for January as the Ibrox side go within 3 points of rivals Celtic. Brendan Rodgers urges the Hibs to find consistency after admitting the champions are dropping too many points as they bid to defend the title. David Martindale claims Rangers are now title favourites after he saw his Livingston side beaten 3-0 at Ibrox.
That fresh impetus, knowing that the title's in their hands, that was in the back of my mind. So,
well, there you are. Weekend Scottish Premiership to discuss, and of course the managerial merry-go-round continues, although this one certainly caught us all on the hop. Up at Pittodrie, there's going to be a caretaker manager all the way through to the summer. Is there a possibility of beyond that for Neil Warnock? Adam Binney was there at Pittodrie.
Neil Warnock has been appointed interim manager of Aberdeen on a deal until the end of the season. The 75-year-old joins the club with a wealth of experience. This is now his 20th different job at his 16th different club, and his first game will be tomorrow night at Ibrox against Rangers. Warnock has spoken previously about his ambition to one day manage in Scotland, and around about 11 a.m. this morning that dream finally came true.
I've always thought, I applied for the job once many years ago, and I never even got a reply, which I felt let down, really, if I'm honest, at the time. Are you with me? And I used that a little bit to motivate myself, because I thought, right, I'll show them what they're missing, and I managed to get promotion that following year.
The appointment seems to have been well received by the majority of Aberdeen fans, and rightly so, as Aberdeen had to work hard to fend off interested parties from down south.
But it's just, you get feelings. I got a good feeling about here. Only in the last couple of weeks I could have got 2 or 3 times my salary that I'm on here in England. But it's not the salary now. You don't come back at my age unless there's something that ticks the boxes.
Well, Warnock might only be here for 4 months, but he's hoping to achieve something that he has yet to do in his career.
Finishing as high as we can and winning the cup. I don't think there's anything else, is there?
Well, Peter, what do you think? Is Neil Warnock the man to save Aberdeen's season?
Yeah, how refreshing. It's not about the money. And the look on all your faces is priceless. But he's here. He's got the job. Is it a surprise? Is it the right choice?
Time will tell, won't it? He's got the experience, but he's not, obviously, as I said there, got experience of Scottish football. He's got the experience of Championship, League One, English Premiership, but he's not been up here yet. But it seems as if he's looking forward to it. He seems confident. He's got a good squad of players that are underachieving in now, so I think he'll get the best out of them and get them up the table. But I just think third is too far away for him.
Yeah, the other thing about it, and I think we've got to offer a sense of real balance on this, because I know the general feeling is, oh my God, 75, what are you going for somebody like that? This is not the way Aberdeen should be looking at it, but this is a man with good credentials, Neil, and maybe they're taking advantage of the situation, the perilous situation they find themselves in at the moment.
Oh, he's got great credentials, his record in the Championship, not just for promotions, but for keeping teams up when they've sort of been on their downers. He's really, really top side. He's one of the best Championship managers of all time. He's got a vast experience of working at sort of unattractive clubs and making them better. I think he'll go in there and galvanise the place. And it's interesting in his interview, he's talking about finishing as high as they can on the table and winning the cup. For me, that's what they've got now, is the cup. Third, I agree with Lee, is gone. They're not going to get relegated. So the cup's got to be the main focus. They've got a decent job of Bonnie Rig. They should come through that. And then the cup rounds open up. But for the short term, I don't think they could have got many better in terms of experience and what he knows how to win football matches.
Yeah. Do you think maybe Aberdeen fans were looking at it and saying, oh, come on, as a board, you've maybe made 3 mistakes before that. Should you not be out there looking and saying Aberdeen is a big club, it's an attractive club? Some people will look at this and say, are Aberdeen really at the stage where they're hiring a man well past his best, or is there another counter view?
No, I think that in terms of experience, I think that the last 3 Aberdeen managers have all been very young. Barry Robson, Stephen Glass, Jim Goodwin. They've went to the opposite scale now. They went and get a 75-year-old in to go and take the team, so certainly got experience. But I agree with Neil. I think he'll galvanise the team. I think he's a good character. He's clearly a good man-manager, and he'll go in the short term and then see how he does. I don't think he's going to be there long term. And maybe at the end of the season, Aberdeen have got their eye on someone at the end of the season to come in. It's maybe not the right timing just now, but I think it's a good appointment. I'm looking forward to seeing him up in Scottish football. I've always liked him, always liked the way he spoke and the way he's managed teams. And I think it'll be interesting to see how he gets on at Aberdeen.
Yeah, I thought you'd like him, by the way. He's 20 clubs. So I knew
I've seen that there. He's been managing for 42 years, so he's got experience of management.
I knew you'd warm to him. He's a brilliant character, and I think that's the point that you highlighted there is, although he's got that ability to cajole the press, have a bit of fun with them as well, Neil highlighted he's got a good track record, and I don't know if you can remember the documentary when he goes in at Sheffield United at half time. I mean, honestly, if there's some Aberdeen players who are not used to a manager who absolutely leathers you, they're about to get a rude awakening, aren't they?
Even some of the clips on the YouTube, you just type his name in, he's brilliant. But I think the biggest thing for me is he's got a squad of players that are underachieving, and I think he will get the best out of them. So I think there will be a big bounce to the end of the season.
Yeah.
He doesn't like injured players either. Did you see that in the documentary?
Yes.
Doesn't like them get out.
Well,
So when he like to be injured at Aberdeen.
Who does?
I know.
It's funny actually, but that's what Bill Shankly used to do. If you were injured, he'd walk past you in the hall. If you were in the dress,
You're no good to me, son.
yeah, exactly. It's brilliant, and it puts you on a downer. What about the plans? Dave Cormack had something to say, obviously, about this, because many people will be surprised, but Dave Cormack on his review says ambitious clubs regularly invest in independent advice to support internal coaching, data analysis, recruitment and medical teams with the goal of improving performance through continuous learning and development. The highly experienced team of independent advisors who do this work with some of the best clubs across the globe will make recommendations to allow us to understand what we can improve upon in terms of best practice going forward. And I just wonder, as we look on at the final couple of paragraphs, the review will include benchmarks at the club against similar teams that currently outperform us in Europe. With this work well underway and due to be completed by early April, we are aiming to have a new management team confirmed by the end of the season. So clearly there's an internal review which has looked at 3 managers that have failed, and then they've said to themselves, well, listen, they'll have consulted people and said, safe pair of hands, look what he's done, look what he's achieved. Once we get this review out the way, then we will assess what we're looking for, if there are other candidates out there who can. And this is the thing that not only Aberdeen have to do, Neil, but a number of clubs in Scotland will have to really look at some of the clubs that are outperforming us in Europe and getting good results, and what are they doing right that we're not?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to, look at things, if it's not working, what can we do better? Is it recruitment? Is it coaching? Is there enough coming through the academy? I mean, they've got a great training ground up there, and he has invested some money, serious money.
Yeah.
Where they've gone wrong is, they've gone down the road of a, young coach to come in and, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, they've gone down that route and it hasn't worked. Barry earned the right to take the job on. It didn't work out again, so they need to rethink their strategy on that, on appointing a coach or a manager as to what they want that coach and manager to do. On the outside looking in, you'd think Aberdeen would be challenging for 3rd place every season, Peter, and making Europe, with the infrastructure that they have and the finance that they have, but that hasn't been the case. I think Neil will steady the ship if it needs steadying. I don't get why would you bring an interim now, unless it's for financial reasons. They've still got to pay Barry and his staff off, and they want to park that until the end of the season. But surely, if you were thinking of going forward, you get somebody in now to work with the players that they've got until the end of the season to build for next season. Basically what they're looking at is somebody coming in from scratch in the summer and starting all over again.
Could I throw a curveball at you and suggest, what if he does really well? Does that create another problem in the summer?
I don't think so.
No.
You know, I think it's just a short-term thing for Neil. And at his stage of his life and his career, it's a challenge that he feels has enthused him.
Yeah.
But I'd be really surprised. There's no long-term thinking in that. You know, if he was to stay on for a year, just by his age more than anything else, and being so far away from his home as well.
Okay, that's Aberdeen. Before we look at the what happened in the weekend Scottish Premiership, you know what it's like. I love having you here, and I know sometimes in the last couple of months you've thought I've been pushing you out the door. It's a long process with the Republic of Ireland, the job. It must be for the people who are candidates for it, including yourself, quite frustrating, the delay.
Yeah, I mean, you got to respect the process. You know, they've been very, very diligent in their approach to this. You know, very stringent, very professional. And you know, when they've decided to, you know, make the call, we'll know. But yeah, it has been a long process, but one that you have to respect.
Yeah, absolutely. We're quite happy you're here.
Thanks very much.
Only due well, exactly. Only due to the fact that one more appearance.
To get a bonus?
No, one.
That's what he's trying to get.
No chance of that.
30 appearances a week, you know what I mean? He's trying to get me out the door.
Hey, calm your jets. You're on a Neil Warnock deal, right? But the other good thing is if you're here next week, that triggers your involvement in the Christmas party for next week. But it doesn't look good. So one more appearance and you're in. Okay, let's look at the Scottish Premiership results and see what happened. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1, Dundee 2, Hearts 3, Hibernian 0, St Mirren 3, Motherwell 1, Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 3, Livingston 0, and Ross County 0, St Johnstone 1. As ever, Scottish football, it just keeps on giving. There's so many layers of different stories going on. One week it's a team happy, one week it's a set of fans not happy. So, Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. What's your take on it?
It's a poor result. I think that Celtic, you know, are dropping too many points at the minute. You know, they're letting Rangers back into it. And, you know, with an opportunity during the week, both have got tough games. You know, Celtic away to Hibs. And Rangers have got Aberdeen, so some tough fixtures coming up. I thought the first half Celtic dominated the game. I thought they created chances, they could have been a couple of goals up, but then Aberdeen have got a top quality player, and if you give somebody like that the space that he got there, one on one, he cuts inside and he kills it in the corner. That changed the game totally. All of a sudden Aberdeen had something to hang on to, and the pressure was on Celtic. Celtic got the equaliser and then pushed for the winner, but a disappointing overall performance and a disappointing result for Celtic, and it's just not going to add to. It's going to add to the angst around Celtic at the minute.
Yeah, this is what Brendan Rodgers had to say about that 1-1 result. There's still a long way to go, many points to play for, to fight for. We just have to concentrate on ourselves and find a greater consistency. We have to find that consistent level because we are dropping too many points. Well, that was his assessment of it, and I think to offer a sense of balance, because the one thing we do on this show is all of us will offer an opinion on it and a take on it from a different perspective, a player, a coach, a former player yourself in that unbelievable position of being a really successful manager and player as well. He's right though. I mean, there's a long way to go. You've got to kind of give him a fair sense on this. There is a long way to go. Nothing has been won and lost, and they're still top of the table, albeit Rangers have a really good chance to get a massive confidence boost.
Yeah, I think for the first time in a while there's a title race on, you know, between both the clubs. I agree with Tom. I think they played well first half. No killer instinct, you know. They had a goal disallowed and hit the bar twice. Aberdeen were very passive. They came out, showed what they're about. Second half is a disappointing result, you know, because of the standards that Celtic set. So the players themselves now, Pete, need to change the narrative. The window's shut. There's no more speculation about people coming in, coming out. 14, 15 games to go. They've got to start winning the games now.
You said the players need to. Does the manager need to?
I thought he was really good after the game. I thought he was quite positive in terms of, wasn't critical, overcritical, and you know, he did say that, you know, they showed great character to come back into the game. I thought that was good, even though I know probably deep inside he'd been disappointed. So he was quite sort of upbeat about it, if you want to put it that way, after a 1-1 draw away. But I look at the players and I'm thinking, you know, they've got the talent, they've got the ability. They need to start being, as Brendan said, more consistent now.
Sometimes if Celtic or Rangers lose a game, Lee, you know, it's that catastrophe, it's a crisis, and nobody really thinks about the team who managed to get a 1-1 draw. And this is a team with an interim manager. You know, it's a coach in Peter Leven who's managed to get the best out of them and fight for a 1-1 draw. They deserve some credit.
I think they do deserve credit, but Celtic completely dominated first half for me. Just didn't have the killer instinct in the final third. You could tell Brendan was disappointed after the game, but I agree with Lenny. I think he's come out and gave the positive spin. There's just something not been right for me since the start of the season. I don't know whether it's the board to the manager. Part of that, though, I think the players are playing with a little bit less confidence than what they were at the start of the season. Whether that be coming for the stands, a little bit critical. They beat St Mirren, I think it was 1-0. The fans were booing a little bit. That's how high their bar is.
Yeah.
And has been for the last, I don't know how many years. But I think now, with the momentum sort of swinging slightly, there is a title race on now. But it's not gone for Celtic. Completely not. They're still in this. They're still 3 points clear, albeit there's a game in hand. There's still a hell of a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the end, I might as well point out to you, we all laughed at you early on in the season.
Everybody laughs at me.
No, but I'm trying to give you a bit of credit here and back you up. They all laughed at you when you suggested that the Old Firm games could be decisive in where this title goes. And we all said, well, listen, they're dropping points against everybody. Lee's theory has been blown out of the water. But now, as you look at the second half of the season, and those two games could be critical if these guys are neck and neck.
I think it could be, but I think what you might find, and probably will find, is that for Celtic is a little bit of a fright now, that result. Expect him to bounce back now and go 3, 4, 5 games on the spin. The form's not been great, but the mentality they've got in the dressing room, they've got players in the dressing room that's won the league loads and loads of times, especially recently. So they've got that experience and know-how of what it takes to go and win the league.
Yeah, okay. Now that we've got the sensible point of view out on it, I'm not for a minute suggesting you. I'm just about to offer my usual baseball bat.
Oh,
on
here
this.
we go.
Yeah, so I might as well tell you. Here's the fans and the banner that they held up, which just basically is a kind of a warning from a certain section. Celtic board, on your heads be it. Now they've been there before. The conduct of them, whether there's any kind of real balance or sense, but you pay your money, you're entitled to your opinion on this, on a football matter, because you're buying into the club and you're paying a lot of money for Champions League, for merchandise, for season tickets. They're not happy. And in the background, there is a real growing anger about this board, the ambition, the way they do transfers, and quite simply, this season, I couldn't even quantify the split of anger towards. There's a real sense that the players are not responding. There's been no spark from Brendan Rodgers coming back second time around, and they're not enjoying the football they're watching. So that's all in the mix. You can't get away from it. You can't shirk away from the fact that there is a real growing anger towards the way this board continually conducts their business.
Yeah, it's a club that's kind of split at the middle, and you look at Rangers, you know, across the city, and it's a united club. You know, everybody's behind the team, the club, the manager. You know, with Celtic, you've got the supporters there that are not happy with the board. But I think Neil made a good point earlier. The window's closed now. That Celtic squad right now is good enough to win the league. So just go and win the league. You know, I think you should leave the board. You know, let them do whatever. But now you've got an opportunity to go win the league. You're in the driving seat still for me, and you can go and win the league. And it's down to Brendan Rodgers and the players now. Forget the board. Brendan Rodgers has got to do his job now. He's highly paid. He's got to go and get the best out of that squad of players and go and win the league. And then you can talk about the board at the end of the season. But it's a real critical point in the season for Celtic where they've got to get back on track quickly at Easter Road.
Yeah, but can you understand the layers of unrest on this?
I understand it, Peter.
Because
listen, fans pay a lot of money to go and watch the club in Europe, to season tickets and merchandise, and they want to see that money being spent and invested in the squad. And to a lot of people's eyes, it hasn't been. So that's where the anger is coming from. But Celtic have been really, really successful in recent years. Maybe the fans are used to it and they expect it every year. But now they've got a proper challenge from Rangers now, and they've got to get their head down, knuckle down and go win the league. And because it's nothing to do with the board now, it's down to the players and the manager.
Yeah, okay. That's your point of view on it. I do think that there's a growing sense of a need for a change in the direction of the way they go about their business. For me personally, I think they're the most well-run financial club in Britain, as far as the board's concerned, the way they go about it. But I think trying to balance that between that and the demands and expectations of the Celtic fans is where we're getting this anger.
How do we know, right, that Celtic haven't tried to spend 10, 12 million pounds on a player, Pete, or 15 million pounds?
Well, can I tell you something, Neil?
Can we attract players of that quality, of that price to Scotland?
Did anybody, the Celtic fans that you, when you were manager, suddenly turn around and say we want a £10 million player? I don't think there's a Celtic fan out there that I've spoken to wants the board to shell out 10 million on a player. Those days when you played in that side was a golden era for Celtic in spending. Mm-hmm. To get someone like yourself at 6 million, to get Chris Sutton, fortunately at 6 million because he had a troubled time at Chelsea. Mm-hmm. But they brought it, I mean, the cheapest guy I think in the team was Didier Agard at 50,000. They were shelling out good money and good weekly wages, and they had a world-class player and a Champions League winner to boot when Martin arrived. So he played really good money. Those days were gone, and the Celtic board acted properly and prudently and changed the narrative and said, look, those days are gone, we're changing it. And that, when they were going through that transitional period, Rangers were able to capitalise and get a few titles in there. But once they actually got to a situation where they said, this is the blueprint, we're going to sign players and move them on and make a profit. Mm-hmm. And that was key to it, and obviously Champions League. And then look and say to themselves, well, Rangers are not in the league, we don't need to spend and blow the budget. But when Rangers come back in, they thought, right, we need to spend this amount to win the league, and then Champions League's just not our level. Europa League maybe, Conference possibly. But that nobody's asking for £5 or £10 million players, but that recurring theme of last minute deals has come back to the table. It changed from Ange a wee bit, but this recurring wait to the last day of the transfer window. At the start of the month, they build their hopes up with Brendan's looking for 4 quality players. By the end of the month, they brought 2 loan signings in. So,
who?
Celtic. They brought Kuhn in and Ida. Ida's on loan, sorry, Kuhn's a signing. So
they spent 3 million on him.
Yeah, so there's 3 million with a club who's got 72 million in the bank, and there's a 60 million pound
what I'm saying is, Pete, like, you know, I'm sure they've looked around for these type of players. They might not be available. They might not want to come.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that they're out of the Champions League might not be as appealing as it were at the start of the season as well. And they've spent some money in the summer. You know, I don't know many players they've brought in. Whether the fans think they're good enough or not is another thing.
Well, that's the key to it. That's the key to it.
That's a matter of opinion. That's nothing to do with, you know, the board's decision to spend the money on it.
But I'm saying to you, I think the Celtic fans are looking and saying, wait a minute, you can't have projects and ones for the future constantly. I think that's what's irritating them. It's worked on
treble last year.
Absolutely, it's worked on 1 or 2, but there's for every 1 and 2 good players.
It's not exact science. You're not going to get them all right.
Yeah, I'm asking you that question.
You're not going to get them all right. But there's, like, I'll give you an example. Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah.
What was he? 1.5 million?
1.2 million.
There you go. He's going to go for 25, 30 million.
Yep.
You know, that's brilliant recruitment, brilliant business, and brilliant development from Ange and Brendan.
And the board have no sold him. Just there when
they could have sold
that's
him.
a positive.
So you think it's? Do you think? And I'm playing the devil's advocate here. Do you think basically it's a case of listen, it's not going according to plan?
I think the fans are worried about the way where the championship's going. You know, there's a title race on, and like I say, we haven't had that for a long time. And Celtic don't have a divine right to win any league. They've got to go and earn it. And that's what I'm saying now. You know, the window's shut. It's up to the players now. I believe they're good enough to win the league. I believe they've got the coach who's been and done it at Celtic before, and he's got the qualities and the capabilities. But they've got a challenge on, you know, and it's part of football. You don't win every league by 15, 20 points.
Your man across the city has suddenly managed to get, on a consistent level, the spark for Rangers that's making this, as Neil mentioned, a title race. He's been able to come in and get everybody on board and get that backing. And maybe, as Neil mentioned there's no divine right to win. Celtic have been well used to it. We, on the Journal show last week, Andrew Smith said some Celtic fans are just demanders rather than realising that you've no divine right to win things. You know, it's almost a sense of entitlement. Suddenly, Philippe Clement has got surely to try and grasp this unrest and see if he can take advantage of Celtic not performing at their best.
I think he's definitely made a difference since he's come in under a previous manager that was backed by the board pretty heavily, and the players they brought in were playing with such little confidence. Maybe it was the style of play, I don't know. Maybe it was the size of the club, I really don't know. But since this new manager's come in, the signings have looked pretty assured, are much better than what they were at the start of the season. I think there is a consistency there, but even after the game at the weekend, which they were very comfortable in against the team at the bottom of the league, still room for improvement. That's his message to the players in the interview after the game, to the fans. We're still a work in progress. We still need to improve every day. He knows that they're playing catch up. They're the hunter, so to speak. So it's I quite like the way he conducts himself, especially compared to the previous manager that was in. There's no arrogance. He's portraying it's just all about hard work and desire, and that's what I like about them. They've brought the gap down now. Got a game in hand that they still need to win, but they need to be consistent. They need to keep being consistent and beating every day and give themselves the best chance come the next Old Firm game to put a psychological marker down, home game, go and win that, then maybe things might turn right in its head. But I don't think there's alarm bells in Celtic fans' heads. I think it's far too early for that.
Yeah, Philippe Clement, as far as that win at the weekend, has used a phrase that you have used on more than a few occasions. It's obviously just one game at a time.
I don't know if it was there, and I don't care, to be honest. No, I know what's the way to win trophies. I've been there enough times as a player, as a manager, what the season is, and there's only one way, and that's to focus on yourself and to do it game by game. People who start to plan too much from before or look too much ahead, they fail because they lose their focus.
He's very grounded, I think. I think he's very level. You know, when they go and win 3-0 or the drop points, he always comes out with the same narrative. It's a game at a time, and consistently they're getting results now, and there's no complacency being allowed to settle in at Rangers. Go to the next game, keep winning. He's not getting too high or too low. I think that's good for Rangers that he's got that kind of emphasis on that.
4 wins out of 4. January manager of the month. Are they firing on all cylinders? Is it the football is exciting? Is it something you can see what he's trying to do in progress at the moment?
I think he likes pace in wide areas. They're crossing the ball a whole lot more than what they were at the start of the season. And they actually looked a threat the first maybe half hour of the game. They got lucky-ish with the 2 goals just before half time, and it completely changed what the second half would have been if it was 0-0. I think there's a steeliness about them. They're not conceding many goals now, and they're scoring goals. So I think it's all positive just now, but it's a hell of a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, they can go top if they can win their game, if they can win by 3 clear goals against Aberdeen. How much of that psychological bonus, when you're always the chasing team and then suddenly, boom, you hit the front?
Yeah, it's good, and I think they will win on Tuesday. I agree with the boys, he's done a terrific job. I also agree with Lee in terms of, I still think Rangers are a work in progress. And he wants to see improvement in different areas of the team. But they've been really consistent, but the still question mark is the one defeat was at Celtic Park, where I felt, when it went 2-0 to Celtic, they sort of didn't look great. I know they came back into the game, but the game could have been well away from them by then. But overall, you have to say he's done a terrific job. He's won a trophy, the top of the Europa League group, which is brilliant. And they're on a really good run consistently in the league. So bit by bit, step by step, he's done a fantastic job up to now. psychologically to go top will give the players a shot in the arm, but then they become
Hunted.
and it'll be interesting to see how they react to that.
Yeah. Obviously, we like as this madness of Scottish football swings one way then the other. You know, I'll get your thoughts on where you think it's going shortly. But as far as Livingston and Davy Martindale, at the end of the game, he reckons that the Rangers players, you know, must have had their chest puffed out because they got a lift once they realised that Celtic had slipped up at Pittodrie.
When I seen the Aberdeen result come through, I was a wee bit worried, if I'm honest. Probably gave the crowd real energy, gave the Rangers players real energy, because now you could say it's in Rangers' hands. It's in Rangers' hands, whereas previously it wasn't. So you're coming into this game already coming to Ibrox, a difficult game, but with that fresh impetus, knowing that the title's in their hands, that was in the back of my mind. So
it's becoming more and more difficult for Livingston. I mean, the last thing he needs is everybody cheering before they come out because they realise it's game on here.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't expected to get anything at Ibrox. I think that's not going to define their season. I think that they're on a poor run at the moment, but they came off and they find out that Ross County got beat. I think that would have given them a lift. I think the other team I'd be targeting if I was Livingston. They're still only 6 points behind. If Livingston can just pull a win out for somewhere, then they might get some sort of lift for it. As long as it's not 9-10 points where they're completely detached. So, okay, they get beat 3-0. I think most people would have expected that, but the fact is they're still in with a chance. And as long as Ross County or the teams above them just don't start pulling away, then they'll still believe that they can stay up. But he needs a win for somewhere soon.
Yeah, okay.
That used to be the normal, didn't it, Jig?
I'm just
So, like, when
you go.
Sorry, when if Rangers played at 12:30 and they won, then me and you at 3:00, we got to win here.
It's horrible, isn't it?
And the flip side of it is, if they drop points, like that, right, we got to win here. that was the norm. Yeah. This is new now because we haven't had it for a while, and you know, both teams are taking it into February. They're taking it deep, so it's going to be interesting to see the flip-flopping of the results as we go along.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, before we talk about your team, Hibs, you're going to make an observation. You've
Friday,
yes.
you two were going to Livingston in away. And I was like, no, 6 points. And you are both laughing at me. No,
I'm still laughing at you. Livingston are away. Livingston are away. By the way, do you know what the problem with him is?
Ross County are poor than that's what.
You know what the problem with you is, and this is the problem with you. You, because you've been sitting here and you're listening to the gaffer, and he's having that effect on you where you're suddenly becoming Mr. Cautious. You know, before you used to throw grenades, you were baseballing, batting everybody.
Livingston are doing nothing. They're relegated. Is that what you want me to say?
No, I'm not talking
Sorry,
about
Davey, but they're done.
I'm not talking about Livingston, but you just call it as you see it. And with that in mind, this whole thing is now tight. It's back to, in a sense, not the great days when you were playing.
No, but it's similar,
it's similar with two inferior teams.
Yeah, but then we had Walter and Gordon going at that for a couple of years. It was like nip and tuck, for a long time, and we haven't had that in Scotland for maybe a decade or more. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's maybe new for a new generation of fans to take, and they can't get that. Some can't get their head around it. Others will be loving it.
Yeah, it's great for us because it's great copy. Every week is completely and utterly mental. There's that Scottish football. So with you looking at Rangers, how they've been galvanised under Philippe Clement, they've still got Europe as well kicking. Still got a cup. Could do a treble. Where's your mind at? Do you think they've got enough in the tank in that squad to win the league?
Yes, I think they've got enough in the squad and the tank to win the league.
Let me rephrase it. Do you think they will?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's an opinion. Neil?
What?
Who do you think is going to win it?
Celtic.
Close?
Oh, it'll be close, yeah.
Yeah. Point or two, you thinking?
I agree with Jig. It'll probably go down to the games. The two games. And the psychological fallout of that. But like I said at the start, it's down to the players now. They've got to, find a bit more from what they're showing in terms of the overall performance. Because, the last couple of games it's been, one good half and flat in the other. So they need to put the two halves together. Look, they're capable of doing it, you know what I mean? And the narrative around Celtics on the outside can be negative. But inside you just got to go, okay, we've got a title race on, let's let's take this on.
Yeah, okay. Tom, it's down
Yeah,
to
no,
you and me
I-
now for the last two opinions on this. They're split.
I think that Celtic will just win it. I think it'll be close, Peter. I think they've got the experience in the dressing room of winning titles, and I think that's going to be crucial. Rangers are going to be in Europe as well. They're going to have a couple of tough games, and they're going to be playing catch up on a Sunday, where Celtic got the opportunity on the Saturday probably to go and put Rangers under pressure. So I think Celtic will just win it. I think they've just got a little bit more than Rangers, but I think it's going to be very close.
Yeah,
So I'll go for Celtic just.
I'm looking at what you've said, Lee, and I think that's coming back to be decisive, which is I think the games, Old Firm games, will be decisive. I think
If they are going to be decisive, I think that Celtic are favourites, because Celtic over the last 5 or 6 games I think have won 4 or 5. And Neil mentioned it earlier, Rangers have still got to prove that they can beat Celtic in a big game, and they haven't done that.
Yeah, I think they're going to be decisive. I mean, the Ibrox one, as you said, is absolutely massive, because if, and it's a big if, the way the league is going at the moment, the managers have come in, the players, and the way everybody's playing, it's a big if that they're going to go undefeated in all the other games. I mean, that's one surefire thing. But I think
they have to. I think both teams have to
go undefeated.
Yeah. 14 games to go for Celtic. They got to win 13, maybe 12, 13
to win the league. Mm-hmm. Lee, I think Celtic are going to win it by a point. Whereas
you do you?
I think Celtic will win it by a point, because he's a good coach, and there's something that he just has to get. There's something that he's got to try and get out of them. Forget the injuries, forget the board, forget the signings. I think this is where he's going to earn his corn. But I do think those games, Rangers, if they're going to win the league, have to beat Celtic at Ibrox.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, but then, if Celtic win or if Rangers win, there's still another one at Celtic Park, Pete.
Yeah.
And it'd still be difficult to call it, because you don't know what form both teams are going to be in when they go into either game, really. Yeah, I mean, both games I think are huge, and that's great. That's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't like talking about managers on a sugary peg. I don't think he's on a sugary peg. I think Nick Montgomery just needs time to get this side together. But boy, talk about angry Celtic fans, angry Hibs fans. 3-0, absolutely thumped.
Peter, the first half performance, the goodwill towards Nick Montgomery evaporated in that 45 minutes. I think a lot of people who thought, give him a chance, that first 45 minutes would have swayed it to, I'm not sure about him. The first half performance was an absolute disgrace. I mean, it could honestly have been 5-0 to St Mirren at half time. They absolutely battered Hibs. It was a doon. Hibs continuously tried to play out for the back. St Mirren were pressing them, corners, crosses, shots. It was a bombardment. Hibs never had one attempt at goal in 45 minutes at home. Yeah. I've never seen that in 25 years. Second half, game's finished, they came out and they were a bit better, but his new signings need to start hitting the ground running, Peter, because I'm not seeing he's under pressure. I think he'll get to the summer regardless. But Hibs need to finish in the top 6 this season for the fans to see where he's going. And it's cloudy at the minute. I don't think a lot of fans can see it long term.
The manager thinks, on the performance, they were outfought,
out-competed, and there's not many times I've said that, but yeah, I have to accept that, and the players accept that, and yeah, that's nowhere near good enough, and yeah, disappointed of course. And in the second half, we huffed and puffed, but you can't get back into a game after showing that first half performance. So
the manner of the goals they lost, Neil, is no great surprise to me. In the summer, the clear problem was the back line. They haven't addressed it.
No, very passive. Easy goals. A bit debatable on the penalty, Tom. Do you know what I mean?
Harsh.
I thought it was harsh. But the other 2 goals, it's come from one, a wide free kick they haven't dealt with, and then a set play. But even in the throes of the game, Pete, St Mirren, and let's give St Mirren a lot of credit. They're a good side. They've already won at Easter Road, the opening game of the season, with a better team. But yeah, it's a worry. It's a worry. And at the minute, they're not scoring enough goals either. They don't look like scoring goals. I don't know, how many games is that now without a win? Is it 5, 6?
I think it's 6 now. And only Livingston have conceded more goals, Peter, as well. I think they've conceded 37 goals as well.
It's not like they haven't invested in the team, Tom, have they?
No, they've spent money. I mean, they got 7 out, 7 in the window. Yeah, and I thought it was impossible for Hibs to be worse going into the window because of the 7 guys that get out weren't they playing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great window, and then they get battered. I'm getting quite angry here.
Well, absolutely. I thought they were going to finish third. What do I know? Because I just thought the way he wanted the team to play football, I'd gone through, and as you know yourself, you've got to go and see games. You've got to get a bigger picture and a sense of the way a team's lining up, who's putting the shift in, how they're organised, how they're set up, and then the type of goals they're losing. It didn't take a rocket scientist to work out they're losing goals when the ball goes into the box. They can't defend it. They can't defend anything in their box. That back four needed to be addressed in the summer. It's 1 win in 7 that you're talking about.
That was 4th in the cup, which were arguably fortunate to win.
And at this point, you're saying to yourself, he needs to sort it out. And
he needs a win.
Yeah.
You know, to get a bit of momentum going again. And
it's Celtic at midweek.
Celtic midweek, yeah. I'm going up to that one, so that should be interesting. I think Celtic will come with a, hopefully from Celtic point of view, a proper mindset to get the win and get it over and done with early. So I think they drew 0-0 with Celtic at Easter Road, didn't they? And they actually defended quite well.
They did.
Sometimes when they put their minds to it, they can be all right, but the worry for me is both ends of the pitch at the minute. They don't look, as if they're going to blow teams away like they can with the players that they've got, and they certainly don't look like keeping clean sheets.
Yeah, and of course, fullbacks, as Lee rightly points out to St Mirren, he's certainly a good manager, unless in the summer they're looking at him. How Aberdeen did not think about approaching Stephen Robinson escapes me, but he's just looking for another midweek win, and 6 points from 2 games would be good going for the Saints.
Yeah, look, we only get 3 points for it. Unfortunately, I'd love to have 6 points for winning 3-0, but we're really proud of the boys today. What we've said is go and rest over the weekend again. We're back Monday. Got a very, very important game against Dundee, and we set these 2 games to say how important they were. We didn't play them down. We needed to have 6 points from the games to give us a gap between people behind us, and we've done the first bit, but another hard task ahead.
Yeah, I quite like his idea. If you win 3-0, you get 6 points.
Yeah, we're going to leave by Christmas. They needed the win. It was important for them to win. They'd on been a bit of an up and down run, and to be honest with you, I didn't see the emphatic nature of that 3 points, but it's brilliant for them, And what a job he's doing there. It's difficult, Pete. You're talking about him being linked with Aberdeen or Aberdeen. They'd have to pay compensation. St Mirren certainly wouldn't want him to go. And they may look at Stephen in the summer. Because one thing, he's been really consistent, and he's got a good group of players there who are all working really hard for him, and that was a big win for him, and it'll give him a lot of confidence going forward.
And from Motherwell and Morecambe apart, because obviously it didn't go quite the way he wanted to, but Motherwell in the Scottish game to St Mirren, he knows a player.
He does well. He really does well. I think he had Motherwell flying high, top 6, a couple of cup finals that he missed it in, and then I think it goes down south, comes back up. Look at St Mirren now. I think he deserves an enormous amount of credit, but I'm with Neil with the compensation, and is it the right one at the right time? Internal investigation up at Batodry, all the rest of it. I think they might look at him in the summer if he continues and gets a good league finish.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best managers in the country. He's really galvanised St Mirren. They absolutely love everything he's doing there. I'm a big fan.
He's experienced, he knows the Scottish football. This is a unique league, Peter, and when Hibs were appointing Nick Montgomery, the 3 names that I had was Derek McInnes, Neil and Stephen Robinson, because they all know Scottish football, they know how to put teams together to do well and be successful. It's a physical league. St Mirren went out and absolutely bullied Hibs in the first half. Too physical, too strong, balls in the box, couldn't cope with it, goals, bullied them, and it's difficult to go and play 4-4-2 with 2 wingers, and that's what Nick Montgomery seems to be doing. He hooked the 2 of them at half time. I think you've got to get an experienced manager, and guys like Neil and Dale McInnes. That's the guys that Aberdeen, Hibs and that should be looking to get in.
Yeah, absolutely. Motherwell won, Kilmarnock won. I think the toughest job for all of us here is to work out who's going to finish second bottom, because before I went down to the press conference today for Motherwell, and I'm automatically thinking to myself, well, let's look at some of the stats to see who potentially is going to have a battle to get away from that second bottom spot. Obviously, I've got Livingston relegated. I know some of you might think differently, but it's about goals. And in mid-February, all the way through from February to May, Kevin Van Veen hit 17 goals last season and Motherwell finished 6th. So goal scorers in that second half of the season, even 10 goals from somebody who can find the net, gets you away from that danger area. And suddenly, from nowhere, a boy that I thought looked a bit raw, suddenly Theo Bair has come to the fore, Neil, and he's scoring goals and looks a real threat, mega confident.
He's on a great run. He scored a great goal, a header, I think, last week. Really good goal against St Johnstone. Stephen O'Donnell was in talking about him a couple of weeks ago, Pete, saying that he's got all the attributes. He just needs a bit of a G'ing up at times, and maybe that's what Stuart's done. Van Veen was huge for Motherwell last year, and this kid's starting to, bang the goals, and they're priceless. I don't know many points he's been worth to them already, in the last sort of month, but they still need to get out of this run they're on. It's 1 win in 18, and he can't do it all himself. They're going to need to, get more goals from other positions as well. It's a decent point, but I think Motherwell will be all right in terms of second bottom, but they need a couple of wins just to sort of settle everyone down.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
Yeah, and the manager, Stuart Kettle, this morning, fulsome in his praise of the striker.
The idea of bringing Theo Bair in here in day one was pretty exciting for me because I thought that there was so far to go, and we've got to go through a process as well. This kind of GBA process to get them into your group and into the football club. And it's fair to say that there's one or two people that may have been involved in that process that I spoke to since that kind of had a wee smirk in their face and a little bit of laughing, and people that I respect in the game that said, I think you could be onto something there. I think you could be onto a bit of a gem that maybe a lot of people don't see. So,
yeah, listen, fair play to the boy if he keeps going. 7 goals, and I think it's something like 5 and 5.
Brilliant, and Motherwell need that. Obviously you had Van Veen last season, and that's going to be the difference of Simon Murray at Ross County. Somebody like that can get you 10, 12 goals. It's going to be the difference between maybe finishing second bottom or 10th, 8th, whatever. So if Bair continues to score goals, they should claw themselves out of trouble.
Yeah, I could see it coming.
I knew there was one coming. I knew it was coming.
Do you know what happened?
There was one last week as well.
You know what? Have you narrowed it down to last week?
No.
But what happens is he gets the cold stare.
Every week.
He tells you. See, once he starts staring at you, you think, here comes the guy. It's coming. You can see it a mile off. But nevertheless, he's absolutely ridiculous. You'll miss that,
I will, yeah.
Anyway, Van Veen was a man we were talking about. He's at Kilmarnock, and Derek McManus is well aware of the fact that he signed him, and maybe he's not 100%.
Kevin's no played since he told me before the game it was November, but it's actually October, I think. So he's been doing a lot of training on his own. So, being fit and game fit is different. Greg Stewart, another one who would try to work hard to get up to speed. So, on paper we've got a lot of talent there and a lot of options, but it's also an understanding for me that sometimes you just got to get them out there to get them their minutes and get them up to speed.
Well, I think if he gets him fit, they're going to be away from, they could be really battling in that top 6.
Undoubtedly. If he hits a bit of form, I think, albeit he might be a couple of pounds overweight, but that comes with when you're not playing for a long period. If they can get him hitting form, scoring goals, then there's no reason why they can't be 4th or 5th in the league for me.
Yeah, staying where they are, because I think, does everybody have the consensus that 3rd is done and dusted?
Yeah, Hearts are 12 points clear. They're not going.
Hearts have been on an excellent run. They've been great. So yeah, I think Hearts could Killy catch them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't see many other teams doing that now.
We're doing not too bad by the way. We've determined who we think's going to win the title. We've now said Hearts 3rd. It's between Killy, St Mirren and Dundee at the moment, battling away for 4th, 5th and 6th.
You still can't rule out Hibs and Aberdeen for that as well.
Yeah, late run.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have to be a late run. They're not miles behind sort of 4th and 5th place, are they?
Nope. It's a point. It's a point between Dundee, Hibs and Aberdeen, and then 2 points back St Johnstone.
They'll be top 6.
Yeah. So who's dropping out? Dundee?
Aye, I think so.
Aye. Yeah.
Hibs.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
can't see it.
On that performance on Saturday, they've got a long way to go even to get in the top 6, Hibs. They were dreadful.
Okay, there you are. He's not changed at all on his assessment of that. If ever you want a team to try and stop getting them to come back into a game and recreate the same movie, Dundee surely must have been aware that Hearts are more than capable of coming back into a game.
As well, wasn't it, for Dundee?
Yeah, and I thought they were a wee bit harshly done by in the penalty as well.
I think it was harsh, but Hearts, this isn't the first game Hearts have came back late on. They're showing a bit of character, a bit of resilience. The goals weren't great that they conceded, but they're showing that mentality to come back and never be beat until the whistle goes. On top of that, you've got Shanklin, who is obviously he's a very good player, but he's on form now.
Yeah,
really
are you surprised that he said he was just scunnered with the whole thing about constantly being linked with Rangers?
He's a genuinely good boy. I think he'll just be concentrating on himself, on the club, try to get as many goals as possible, secure Europe, which they've more or less done, and then see what everybody's saying, the club, what he's thinking, his misses at the end of the season.
Yeah, okay, we didn't know about his misses, but now that you've thrown that in,
She wear the trousers then, I take it.
so she's deciding on whether he's accepting a Neil Warnock deal or not. Okay, as far as we did mention the penalty, I thought it was a bit harsh. So did Tony Docherty.
I don't know what handball is. I think I said it earlier on this season. I can't remember the game it was, but and you just spoke with Big Ash here, who's the most honest boy you'll meet. What is it defend? What are you meant to do there? And I seen the one against Hibs today as well. What are you meant to cut off a body part? What are you meant to do there when you're a yard away for the player? Absolutely. I mean, if probably Big Ash's split. What are you meant to do? I mean, we're human beings. We've got arms inside there. You know what I mean? Are you meant to cut them off? And it's going to get to a stage where people just flick the ball against your hand and it's a penalty kick.
I like Tony. I really do. I mean, honestly, he's absolutely top draw. Do you know what the great thing is? All you guys, what a lot of people don't know is all you guys, you go for your PR media training on how to say nothing, and then you get into a press conference and you forget it. And you just start caning everybody, and that is just classic. Because rightly so, he should feel hard done by.
He's got a point. You know, even I touched on the one against Hibs. I thought it was really harsh. And this one again, what are you supposed to do, Peter?
Yeah.
The ball is so close to the kid, and he's sort of like his hands there almost. And I mean, it's such a grey area, the handball, and it obviously had a big impact on the game. I thought they played some lovely football at times, Dundee. You know, the second goal was a great goal.
Could I be critical of the point that when Shanklin got the ball on the edge of the box,
For the third goal, they get closer.
He
No question.
just quickly should have.
No question. And I thought he did brilliant for the first goal for Forest as well. Showed great awareness, lovely feet. He's just a player in top form, and he's scoring all different kinds of goals. He's been absolutely priceless for Hearts, and I don't know how many points he's racked up for them, but he's just in that vein of form. I hope he stays on it, because he's great to watch at the minute.
Yeah, Stephen
this
Smith.
this could be the first time in a long time that somebody out with the Old Firm wins the Player of the Year in Scotland.
Are you tipping Shanklin to win it?
I think it's Shanklin and Majowski at the minute.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody. O'Reilly, possibly O'Reilly, but
It's got to be O'Reilly. At this moment in time, it's got to be O'Reilly.
You think
He's got to be in my shout, but I agree with Tom. The two strikers have been outstanding.
For me, I would even put it. I would just. For me, it's between Shanklin and Majowski.
Butland's had a good season for me.
Yeah.
Butland's been great. That's a great point, Neil.
Is O'Reilly double figures in goals?
He must be.
I think yes.
I'll just check that for you.
Goals and assists.
But to be fair, Stephen A. Smith is loving what Shanklin's doing.
I am pleased. He's a top striker. He's somebody who we know is really important. That's why we wanted him a longer contract. That's why we want to be here as long as possible. Big bit of pressure on his penalty, but again, he shows his quality. And but overall, the performance as a group was brilliant, and that's all we can ask. We continue to go into games saying if we keep winning, the distance between us and the teams below us is going to be greater. That's all we can keep doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Shanklin battering in the goals. O'Reilly 10.
No, I mean, and that could be more by the end of the season. So he's got to be in the argument, O'Reilly.
Yeah.
For Player of the Year. So have the other two. And yeah, Butland for me has been really consistent for Rangers. Not just domestically, but in Europe as well.
Okay, not long to go before we finish. January signing in Boonga, Kimpioka, signed by, don't ask me to say it again, but he scored, which is great because nothing better than bringing a player in. And by the way, the finish for St Johnstone against Ross County was a peach. He just curled it into the bottom corner. Much the same as when I look at you showing me the corner at fives, I just think he's being stupid here. I'll just curl it into the bottom.
That was a big result.
By the way, look at his face.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know.
That was a big result
Yeah.
for St Johnstone. Fancied them, but again, Ross County, they're going to get sucked in for me.
They're getting Livingston hope, aren't they?
Livingston, I think Livingston will be second bottom, and Ross County will go down.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what we love about you. Remember the early Lee McCulloch?
Oh, he was
no opinion,
flaccid,
timid,
spineless.
You know, you were just sitting there thinking, why don't?
Look at your face.
Do you remember that? We were sitting there thinking, maybe it'd be better getting that mannequin in. He didn't offend anybody. Now it's just great opinion.
Been hanging about me too.
He's actually starting to play the way he plays five-a-side. If you get, he's battering you, you know.
Big elbows and all that.
Never changed.
Absolutely. And by the way, have you played him at five-a-sides? Because I know you've played
No, we've
11
not played
sides.
five-a-sides, have we?
Yeah, he's the most difficult player I've ever played at five-a-sides.
Why?
Just to try and get past you.
It's a big backside, isn't it?
No, I've never been that close to it. It's just when you take the ball off, it's nothing. I'm not getting past it. But by the same token, there's an edge to the boy now, and he's told
There's
us.
an edge to the boy.
He's told us Ross County relegated, Livingston second. That's a line.
That is.
What about yourself?
Well, I was surprised, the lack of goals coming from Ross County at the minute because he brought in his own players in January. I still think there's a long way to go. I still think St Johnstone will be in the argument as well. I'm just not convinced that they'll score enough goals. Although Craig, again, he's really structured the way he builds his team. That was a big win for them at the weekend, but I still think there's a long way to go between the three of them.
Yeah, give me two teams.
No.
No?
Right, I'll give you
And
one.
you're going to do nothing about it.
I'll give you one.
I'll give you one. Leather him, by the way.
I'll give you one Livingston.
Livingston.
Not to say they'll go down, but they'll be in the bottom two.
But if there's a wee push at me, if you were really pushy, said, I've got three to pick from there, there's just one.
Probing it.
Honestly.
Hey, say it, Neil. Say it.
You're not on Sky now. Just give us a bloody opinion.
I have given you an opinion.
Damn.
Livingston down Ross County playoffs.
Yeah.
And Ross County will stay up in the playoffs again.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay. Premiership table, here's how it looks, and might change. Give us your opinion as well. We'd love to hear from you on it. There's how it looks. 6 points the difference between Livingston at the bottom and Ross County at the top. Rangers can go top if, of course, they can win their game against Aberdeen. It really is starting to hot up this league. Difficult one week to the next. Fans unrest, and of course it has to be Scotland. There's fans unrest, and Celtic are still sitting top of the table. What about the predictor, Tam? Let's see exactly
get this
how
up now.
you fared. Tam is out in front.
Look at that, Neil.
And he is flying roughy there, and I
I'm
am.
loving your work, man.
I have dropped off, and Lee, you're tucked in behind me.
Nowhere.
It's incredible.
I might actually save you money.
I like the team in sixth place. I like their,
Yeah, Kerry's.
I like their chances.
Yeah, the gingers. Yeah, exactly. I didn't spot them.
You
there.
know where first place?
Aurora Borealis.
You know where they're from?
If they're from Australia, they're not coming. I'm telling you that. Aurora Borealis, well done to you.
What's
You're
going
out.
on here? 127th.
Yeah, but there's
I missed
time.
the first 5 weeks.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
I never used to be on this.
So I think you've got a chance to win it. Anyway,
17th, that's
absolutely magnificent. Okay, listen, just before we finish, quickly, even the best defenders and goalkeepers in the world can make mistakes, and Liverpool came a cropper.
First of all, I thought Arsenal were good value.
Yeah.
I thought they were great yesterday. But I thought Verge, once he let the ball bounce, he was in trouble. I thought he could have got there and headed it and dealt with it. And he's been brilliant this season, but yeah, I mean, it's so unlike the two of them. Big mistake, and then the third goal's gone through his legs. So he's just had one of those days, Becker.
Yeah. Are you at liberty to tell us who you think will win the league in England?
Man City.
Okay, we didn't have to wait long there, did we? What about yourself?
I'm the same, Man City.
Man City to win it, yeah. I'm going to stick.
I'm going to Man City. I know you're going for Liverpool.
I'm sticking with
Because
Liverpool.
you love them.
Yeah, well, who cares what you think? I'm going to go with Liverpool. I just hope they can do it and give Jurgen the perfect
What did you
send-off.
think of it?
I thought
the second goal.
I thought it was an absolute disgrace. I thought Van Dijk should have dealt with it immediately. Not the keeper. Van Dijk, unsure, bang.
You think he should have headed it first?
Oh, absolutely. You cannot let that ball bounce. As a defender, if you let the ball bounce, you're in big trouble. And he get caught out. He should have been headed away. And if at that point, even with the secondary point, once the ball bounces, he still had time to kick it away from Becker coming out.
Shelled out of the pitch.
So he made 2 mistakes, and then eventually Martindale thinks this is Christmas. Open goal. But as you say,
I thought Arsenal were good. I thought they were the better team.
First half they were brilliant, weren't they?
Exactly. And they could have been out of set. And I didn't see Liverpool really threatening the goal second half either, Pete.
Yeah, it's well, they've got a race there as well for the title, and we're certainly looking forward to keeping you up to date with football on the Football Show. Don't forget you can download the app, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hopefully you enjoy the opinion. Give us your thoughts in our feed, and you can also cover us on all our social media channels where all the breaking news is there for you. And of course, great to have Neil with us, Lee and Tam McManus. You can join us again this week for more different programming. We've got the journos, we've got the Women's Football Show. I'll have Straight Talk back this week, one-to-ones from right across the sporting world, entertainment. Might throw in a bit of politics in the second half of the season as well. But hopefully you're going to enjoy all the content we have on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel from all the guys here. Thanks for listening and watching.